You know that feeling you're stuck in traffic maybe, or you're just staring at the ceiling at 3 in the morning, and you get this sudden, desperate itch for an answer. And I mean with a capital A.
The universal itch, yeah, the feeling that there's just one piece of the puzzle missing.
Exactly. Whether you're looking for peace or enlightenment or just, I don't know, a way to get through grief without completely falling apart. We want the secret code. We treat life like it's a broken appliance that just needs the right manual.
Which is, I mean, it's the driving force behind philosophy, religion,
Yeah.
the entire self-help industry, right?
Yeah.
We're all looking for that destination where everything finally clicks and the noise just stops.
But here's the question I want to launch us with today, and it's a bit of a scary one. What happens if you actually find that answer?
Okay.
And maybe even more terrifyingly, what happens if you don't? But you still have to keep waking up and living your life anyway.
That is precisely the tension we're getting into in this deep dive.
Yeah.
We have a really fascinating stack of sources. We're unpacking 2 novels that are explicitly linked. The Lamp That Swallowed Its Light by Penix Shrani.
And The Wound That Wouldn't Close by Penix Yanada.
Right.
And the context here is, I think, super important before we even get into the plot. These aren't just 2 random books.
No, not at all. The sources say they were written as a collaboration under 2 different pen names, and they're meant to represent 2 sides of the same coin, or maybe 2 halves of the same psyche. You get the story of the light, the classic spiritual awakening story.
And then you get the shadow, the story of the residue, the struggle that's left when the light doesn't actually come.
It's like a conversation between the sage and the struggler.
Yeah. And our mission today is to figure out why we might actually need both of them to function. Because let's be honest, we usually just want to be the sage. We want to get rid of the struggle.
Precisely. We want to amputate the parts of us that hurt or feel incomplete. But these books are arguing that that might be a fundamental mistake.
Okay, so let's start with the side we all think we want. The light. The lamp that swallowed its light. Can you set the scene for us here?
The setting immediately creates this mood. We're at a White House. It's at the edge of some nameless village, and it's inhabited by a man named Vasu. And Vasu is, well, he's distinct. The text says he stopped counting his age.
I love that detail. It sounds kind of quirky, but it's really the whole philosophy in a nutshell, isn't it?
It is. When people ask him, Vasu just says he's old enough to have been young. He's not playing by the rules of linear time or what society expects. He is the absolute perspective. He does nothing, but we have to be really careful with that term. It's not laziness.
Right. He's not just napping on the porch all day.
No. It's a doing nothing that is completely full of awareness. In a lot of spiritual traditions, you'd call this non-action or wu-wei. Vasu sees our big life questions. Why am I here? What's my purpose? He sees them as ladders.
Ladders. Okay, unpack that for me.
He says a ladder is useful for climbing, right? You need it to get to the roof.
Right.
But you don't live on the ladder. You don't set up your bed on the rungs.
Right.
Eventually, you have to step off the ladder to realize you're already home. If you stay on the ladder, if you stay in the questioning, you're just sort of hanging there in midair.
That's that classic spiritual aha moment, the idea that the destination is already here. But the book doesn't just leave it as an abstract theory. It brings in a character named Leela to really test it, and Leela's story is, wow, it's heavy.
Leela's the catalyst, for sure. She shows up at the White House carrying what the book calls an invisible weight. She lost her 7-year-old daughter, a completely senseless accident, a driver looking at his phone.
It's the kind of tragedy that just breaks the world. It makes doing nothing sound almost insulting. So she goes to Vasu, totally desperate, and asks him, how do I stop carrying this weight?
And Vasu's response is the pivot for the entire novel. He doesn't give her a grief counseling pamphlet or, some empty platitude. He just looks at her and he asks,
Okay.
who carries? It sounds almost cruel, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's like a surgical strike. He's forcing Leela to investigate the nature of the I that's suffering. He's shifting her focus from the grief itself to the one who is grieving.
And this leads to a sequence that really stood out to me. Leela has this dream. She sees her daughter, but it's not some sad visitation.
No, the daughter is laughing, and the text describes it as a laugh of recognition.
Mm-hmm.
In the dream, Leela gets it. She realizes that forms are just temporary. The daughter, as a physical person, is gone, yes. But the essence, the life that was in her, was never lost, because it was never separate to begin with.
That is a huge cognitive leap for a grieving mother. It feels almost impossible.
It is the ultimate leap. It breaks her open, and she stops seeking a cure for her grief because she realizes this self that was grieving was just a story. There's this beautiful metaphor where she sees she's the wheel itself, not the little person stuck spinning inside it.
And the title comes back here, The Lamp That Swallowed Its Light. What does that actually mean?
Well, think about a lamp in a dark room. It projects light outward to fight the darkness. So there's a duality, light versus dark. But if the lamp swallows its light, it means there's no distinction anymore. The duality collapses. Leela realizes she is the light she was looking for. And when she dies, the book says she dies laughing.
It sounds perfect.
It's the archetype of success. It's the story we all want to hear.
But, and I'll be the skeptic here, it almost feels too clean. Like, oh, just realize you're the universe and poof, your grief is gone. It's a beautiful idea, but is it attainable?
And that is exactly why the second book has to exist.
Yeah.
The lamp gives us the breakthrough. But as we know, life isn't always a breakthrough. Sometimes you climb the ladder, you do all the work, and nothing happens. You're just left standing on a ladder in the cold.
And enter the shadow. The wound that wouldn't close. Even the title just feels gritty. We're leaving that pristine White House.
Totally different territory. We're now in the world of residue. This book is all about the people who didn't wake up, the spiritual failures.
And our guide is Kira. And I have to say, I related to Kira so much more than Leela. Leela feels like a saint. Kira feels like my Tuesday afternoon.
I think most of us resonate with Kara.
Yeah.
She's the ultimate failed seeker. She's done the retreats. She's chanted the mantras, read all the books. She has done everything right, according to the spiritual playbook.
But every single time she gets a little glimpse of peace, it just vanishes. She represents that awful frustration of, why isn't this working for me? What is wrong with me?
Exactly. And her story introduces a concept that I think is maybe the most powerful takeaway from this entire stack of sources. Permission to be lost.
Permission to be lost. Wow, that hits a nerve. So how did she get there?
Well, she meets this neighbor, a man named Dev. And unlike Vasu, Dev is not a sage. He has zero answers. He's dying from a long illness, and he is absolutely terrified. He's not transcending anything. He's just scared of the dark.
So not a teacher in the traditional sense. He's a mess.
He is a mess. But he becomes her guide because of his vulnerability. He shares this metaphor with Kira about a man who's walking to a village that might not even exist.
This is the anti-ladder.
Correct. The teaching isn't keep walking and you'll get to the Golden Palace. The teaching is you are the walking itself. Even if the village isn't real, the meaning is in the motion, not the destination.
That is a hard sell for our efficiency-obsessed brains. We want the village. We want the payoff. We don't want to just walk in circles for nothing.
We do. But think about the alternative. If you're only walking to get somewhere, then every single step is just a means to an end. You're missing your actual life because you're obsessed with a future that hasn't happened. Dev is saying, this step right here, this painful, uncertain one, this is it. This is your life.
So after Dev dies, Kira stops meditating, she stops trying to get it, and she starts writing these strange, dark stories. One of them is called The Woman in the Well.
That image really stuck with me. A woman living at the bottom of a dry well.
And get this, she isn't trying to climb out. She's not shouting for help. She chooses to inhabit the darkness. She furnishes the well. She becomes part of its landscape.
It's the exact opposite of transcendence. It's immersion. It's about accepting the wound rather than trying to heal it. In the first novel, the goal is to rise above suffering. In this one, the goal is to become intimate with it.
And the outcome for Kira is just so different from Leela. Leela dies laughing. Kira dies, oh, ordinary.
She dies incomplete. She never becomes enlightened. But, and this is the crucial twist, her notebooks get published after she dies. And they become a source of solace for thousands of other people who also failed to awaken.
Because she gave a voice to the struggle. She validated the failure.
Yes. There's a letter found in her writings where she admits she finally made peace with the wound. She realized her longing, that painful ache for something more, was her aliveness.
That hits hard. The idea that the pain of looking is actually the proof that you're alive. If you didn't care, you wouldn't hurt.
It reframes the whole struggle. If the lamp is about the joy of finding, the wound is about the dignity of enduring.
So we have these two opposing vibes, Leela realizing it's all a cosmic joke, and Kira realizing the struggle was the whole point. How do we reconcile them? Do we just have to pick a team? Team light or team wound?
The coda, in the source material, argues that we don't choose. They aren't opposing truths. They're the same truth, just seen from different dimensions.
Oh, so? Because they feel pretty different. One feels like winning, the other feels like coping.
Think about the character Priya. She shows up in both timelines. She visits Leela as a young, desperate seeker, but she's also in the second book as an older woman.
And she's the bridge between them.
She is. Her conclusion, after seeing both sides, not knowing is the only knowing that's honest. She realizes the confusion is part of the path. She's the synthesis. She isn't laughing at the cosmic joke, but she's not drowning in the well either. She's just present with whatever's happening.
I want to deep dive into a few things here, because the synthesis is great, but the details are where the magic is. You mentioned spiritual residue. What is that exactly?
Spiritual residue is the stuff that refuses to dissolve. It's all the parts of your personality that don't fit into the neat little box of oneness.
Like my impatience, or my weird love for bad reality TV.
Exactly that. The book is critiquing that pure light philosophy. If we all just dissolved into absolute oneness, into the light, there'd be no stories, no texture. The residue, our fear, our specific personalities, our quirks, that's what makes us human. It's the friction that creates the heat of life.
So the book is saying don't throw away your trash.
It's saying your trash is your treasure.
Mm-hmm.
The parts of you that are gritty and unresolved are what give you traction in the world. You can't have a story without friction. If the lamp swallows its light, the story is over. If the wound stays open, the story keeps going.
This connects to the critique of next that both books seem to share. I found this really convicting.
Oh, absolutely. The trap of next. The next book will fix me. The next deep dive will give me the answer. The next retreat, that'll be the one.
Guilty as charged. I'm always looking for the next thing.
We all are. It's how the ego is structured. But look at how both books handle it. Vasu says next is a delusion because you're already there. Kira realizes that looking for next is what prevents her from inhabiting now. So whether you're the sage or the struggler, the advice is the same. Stop running.
Stop running toward a finish line that just keeps moving.
Exactly.
I want to bring up Mira for a second, the retired judge from the first book, because I think she answers a really practical question. If we just accept everything, does that mean we become passive? Do we just let bad things happen because, hey, it's all an illusion?
That's the common fear. That acceptance leads to apathy. But Mira proves that's not true. She spent her whole life judging guilt and innocence. And eventually she realizes those are just relative concepts, cosmic constructs.
But she doesn't stop judging. She doesn't just quit.
No, she doesn't retire to a cave. She realizes that even though her judgments are relative, she still has to act. She has to uphold justice. But here's the shift. She carries the verdict differently. She plays her role in the drama of life with full commitment, but without the crushing anxiety that she is the ultimate godlike arbiter of truth.
It's like playing a game. You know it's a game, Monopoly, whatever, but you still try to build the hotels. You still try to win. You just don't flip the table and scream when you lose.
That's a perfect analogy. You play with intensity, but you don't mistake the game board for the entire universe. You can act with compassion because you're detached from the outcome, not in spite of it.
There's a little detail in Kira's notebook that I found really haunting, the flash of lightning.
Ah, yes. The glimpse.
She writes about this tiny moment where she felt the one who was wounded just disappear for a second. She was free. And then, snap, it was gone. The ego came back online. The worry came back.
And she probably beat herself up for losing it.
Oh, for sure. I had it. I messed it up. What did I do wrong?
That's the universal experience. But the source material suggests that the fleeting nature of that flash is actually really important. Most of us will not be Leela. We won't have a permanent 24/7 state of bliss. We get flashes. A sunset where the self drops away for a moment. A deep connection with a child. A burst of laughter.
And then we go back to doing our taxes.
And the return to the taxes, the return to the wound, is just as real and just as holy as the flash of light. One isn't better than the other. The lightning matters, but so does the dark sky around it.
That's that permission to be lost again.
Yes, you're allowed to toggle between the two. You don't have to kill the struggler to become the sage. In fact, trying to kill the struggler is
It's just another form of struggle.
precisely. It's the ego trying to get rid of the ego. It's a dog chasing its own tail.
So if we look at this whole stack of sources, Vasu, Leela, Kira, Dev, what's the takeaway for the person listening right now who feels really stuck, who feels like they're just walking to a village that might not exist?
The takeaway is that you are both. You have the capacity for that vast, Vasu-like awareness. But you also have the reality of the human struggle. You are the lamp and the wound. You don't have to choose one to be correct.
It kind of relaxes the knot in your chest a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. It removes the pressure to be finished. You're not a project that needs to be completed.
I keep thinking about that line. You are the walking itself. You're not the destination. You're just the movement.
And the movement is enough.
I want to leave everyone with a final thought to chew on today. We spend so much energy trying to heal our wounds, trying to fix our residue, trying to finally get to that place where the light stays on permanently.
The destination where we're finally safe.
But based on everything we've unpacked today, if the search for a cure is actually what keeps the wound open, what would happen right now, in this exact moment, if you just stopped trying to heal?
That's the question that changes everything.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
See you next time.